We continue to absolutely hurtle towards our radically AI infused future. In this video, I want to highlight a couple of big signifiers, maybe one much bigger than the other, of exactly how into AI Microsoft actually is and how dedicated to this concept they actually are. So the first one is something that has kind of slowly rolled out, but it's, I think, now completely done rolling out. We have a new name for Microsoft's web browser. I'm sure you're familiar with Microsoft Edge, but now there's a little bit more. It's not just Microsoft Edge. It's Microsoft Edge colon AI browser. It's an AI browser now, which is not necessarily a new thing, but the fact that now when you install it on your Android device, that is what it calls itself. That is pretty interesting. And again, it's indicative of how much you're going to be hearing about AI from Microsoft. So what does it mean that Edge is an AI browser? Well, if you fire this browser up, you may notice at the bottom of your screen there is a brand new button. In addition to back, forward, your tabs, and then your menu button, there is now the Copilot button, which if you click on it, apparently nothing's going to happen. Let me see why this browser is frozen. It appears my OnePlus Open has been totally frozen by this browser. All right, perhaps it wasn't the browser. Maybe it was something about screen copy that I've never had it do before. We'll move on. If we click on the Copilot button, this is going to pop up, and this is very similar to the Microsoft Copilot that you have potentially on your Windows PC. You're able to ask it various AI type questions, and it will answer those for you. You can also, quite interestingly, turn on GPT-4, which should improve the results quite a bit. And it should also allow you to do cool things inside this little Copilot, like generating images. I would say my favorite thing to do with it, though, is to, let's just open up any of these web pages, which also appear to not be functional. Okay, we'll just manually browse to a website because everything else seems to be working. So we're going to try and open up Copilot, and we're going to type in summarize this page, and it should do exactly that. It should take a long news article, whatever it might be, and it should give you a quick synopsis of this web page, the article, whatever it is you happen to be looking at. And here we go. It is attempting to do that. Probably picked a bad website because there's probably lots of stuff in there that is not relevant to the actual article. I think some of it might have even been behind a paywall. So I think I picked a terrible example. Let's jump over to an article on The Verge just because it's not behind a paywall, and I think it will probably be a better example. So we have it generating a synopsis summary here, and you can see that that would be something that I think is quite useful to have inside your mobile web browser. We're going to stop the responding here. We're going to start a new conversation, and we're going to see if it can create an image of the Microsoft Surface Duo. And after some time, I was a bit confused at first because it started talking about Surface Duo for quite a long time, and then it tried to generate an image, and of course it didn't do a great job. That's like a tablet. It's not really anything like Surface Duo at all, but you can see it can attempt to generate images, and your mileage will vary on exactly how useful that is. Sometimes the images are going to be good, sometimes they're going to be pretty bad like that. Something else you can do, though, is you can long press on an image and hit search Bing for this image, and it's going to give you this little button here, which should let you kind of basically scan the image, sort of like Microsoft Lens, to try and discern information about the image. It can also translate text and do some other interesting things like that. So they've infused this Copilot AI into the browser, which I think is generally a fairly interesting concept, but there is another thing that we need to talk about today, and this comes from blogs.windows.com. Copilot in giant text, introducing a new Copilot key to kick off the year of AI-powered Windows PCs. When was the last time your Windows keyboard suddenly changed and a new key was added, or a key was changed to your keyboard? To put it briefly, that little menu key on the right side of your keyboard in between Control and Function that you probably, if you're like me, have never used in your entire life, is now going to be rebranded as the official Copilot key. Now, of course, there already is a key combination. If I jump to my desktop here and I hit Windows C, Copilot will pop out. And of course, that does look pretty much just like it did in the Edge browser on my phone. And the functionality is fairly similar. You're going to be doing, the similar sorts of things in here. But now, rather than having to remember that Windows C combination, you're just going to have, kind of in symmetry to the Windows key on the left of your keyboard, a Copilot key to the right. And, it would be easy to look at this and say, is this really that big of a deal? I think it is, though, because again, the Windows keyboard has been set forever. They are literally putting this key on the keyboard, and that's not something that they do all that often. So again, this speaks to the level of dedication that they seem to have with this thing. Now, of course, Microsoft is leading up front with this like they would have to. Upcoming Surface PCs in 2024 will have this Copilot button built in. And I think it's reasonable to expect even more AI being integrated in various places inside your PC going forward over the next year or so. This is where we are going. Like it or not, it is happening. Guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. How do you think Copilot and these things sort of compare with things that like Google are doing? Like we know that Bard already exists, and in some ways, I think I prefer Bard. And Bard very shortly will be integrated into Google Assistant on the Pixel 8 devices. How do you think that's going to perform compared to Copilot built into the web browser, built into a Copilot app that I talked about as a standalone maybe a week or so ago? Lots to talk about in the comments down below, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.